What's going on, world? It's your boy KayFabeyBaby and my pal Webster Style back for another KayFabeyBaby NRW Ring Generals podcast. And today, overwhelming everything we were going to talk about.
For real.
As of this recording today, Terry Bollea, aka Hulk Hogan, a man synonymous with wrestling, I think was a gateway for many of us into wrestling. Has died of a heart attack, cardiac arrest is what we're reading.
Yeah.
The man has passed away. With that being said, I got a lot of thoughts, as does my pal Webster Style, I'm sure. I wanted to toss it over to you, Webster Style, and then I'll throw mine. Yeah.
The saddest part about Hogan and his legacy is we saw who he really was. Because, and again, people, especially WWE was all about characters. I mean, WWF was all about characters. So, you and I, we grew up with Hulk Hogan rocking wrestling. We grew up watching WWF Superstars on Saturday mornings or whatnot. We all had the WWF ice cream bars. We were fully indoctrinated, and Hulk Hogan was that wrestler. And look, I think we all agree, without Hulk Hogan, wrestling would never, let me phrase that. Wrestling became mainstream because he was that character that transcended everything. I mean, he was in Rocky III. He became such a larger-than-life character when it came to wrestling that the WWF was able to capitalize, market, and then market everybody else. So wrestling really stepped out of being this sort of niche sort of thing to become a whole lot more mainstream. And Hulk Hogan was a perfect ambassador for that. So I will never take away what his impact on the sport was and is in many respects. And then, one of the greatest factions of all time, the NWO, and the shock and awe of Hogan turning heel. Like, there's so many great wrestling moments with Hulk Hogan. The problem is we got to learn who Terry was. And we got to learn the ignorance and bigotry that inhabited Terry on a personal level. And, as people of color and just wrestling fans in general, it's hard to reconcile because it's never been, oh, I did that, I'm sorry, I said these things. It was, now I'm doubling down, I'm going for MAGA. But there's so many aspects of him that never changed. And every time he came back to the WWE, the fans let him know how they felt. So it's hard for me to, I'm empathetic for his family. It's always hard to lose a loved one, especially a father, a husband. I'm not sure if he has grandchildren, but it's hard to lose someone so close. But from the aspect of, especially considering some of the other celebrity deaths we've had, this is one that your background encapsulates my feelings about the man himself. And that's sad for me to say because, again, that was the man we were kids. That was the man we were growing up. There's so many moments in wrestling that we remember because of Hogan. I remember the first wrestling show I saw at the Baltimore Arena. The main event was Hogan versus Adrian Adonis. So many of my wrestling memories are tied to Hulk Hogan. And to become an adult, to see him, to see Terry as what type of man he was, what kind of beliefs he had, it's hard to reconcile, and it's sad because it's like part of my childhood died in that. But he stopped being Hulk Hogan to me a long time ago. He's just been Terry, and he's just this dude who is constantly trying to go out to reclaim his former glory. And the fans keep telling him to go the fuck home every time they see him, and he never listens. But now he is gone home. And again, I'm not saddened by this loss, and it's probably very callous and cold of me to say, and I wish no ill will upon him. But for who he was and what he stood for toward the end of his life, His death is not something that I mourn from a context of us as a culture losing an important facet. Like I said, anybody dies is saddening to me because of their family. And again, considering my recent events in my life, that is tough to deal with. And I wish losing someone so important to you on no one in the world. But as far as what he stood for, especially at the end of his life, there is nothing there that I'm going to miss.
Well said. Well said. Ah, I've been trying to figure out how I want to come off on this. Um, Hulk Hogan, like you, died for me over a decade ago, I think, right?
Yeah.
You know, because everything became bare. It became known. Um, and yeah, I mourn my childhood. I think both of you and I, we that lost to our childhood, and when that became known years ago.
Right.
So to me, a racist piece of shit died to me today.
Mm-hmm.
Just another one died today, and I'm celebrating that fact. Hate to say it, and it sounds callous, like we're very much the same person. I just, yeah, and I'm reminded of that loss of my child. What I'm reminded of today, and this death is the loss of my childhood. That additional reminder, but I've mourned that years ago, and it's sad, man. Growing up for me, Hulk Hogan passes very much my father my and this is I had to learn this in the recent past couple of years. My the person who I call dad, my father, but isn't actually my biological father, but he raised me, so he's my dad. And this is something I'm dealing with, people. Y'all are just gonna have to learn that right now. Um, he passed for Hulk Hogan, and when I was growing up, that I literally thought he was fucking Hulk Hogan. I literally thought when my father was in the military, when he would go away on deployment, I thought, and at the time I didn't, I thought it was like the juice. And this time I didn't even really know what steroids was, but that was really a prevalent thing. I thought he would take like some pump and he'd become Hulk Hogan and he was fighting in these pay-per-view events. Weird young kid, mindset, but hey, it's what I thought. I thought my dad was Hulk Hogan. And that was big for me. And yeah, I had the toys, the rock and roll wrestling, me and
Mm-hmm.
you, Eldon, man, what am I saying? He was that guy. But then when you find out later in what was revealed to us that he was the kind of guy that would probably, call me a chink, a gook, a yellow boy to my face.
Mm-hmm.
And that just breaks your heart. And then the disrespect to me, to you, to my fellow African American friends, like he gives a fuck. He's a proud racist. And it just you know uh and then you learn as a fan and you read these stuff as a wrestling fan how he abused the system
Mm-hmm.
to his own benefit.
Yep. Yeah, and I
So
think that's the
he
biggest part too.
destroyed a lot of people, and that's what's killing me today. I'm seeing everybody post what he did for the wrestling industry, what he did for the wrestling industry. This motherfucker was a cancer to the wrestling industry.
Only by himself.
He solely was an ego. The Hulkamaniac was an egomaniac. He was used by Vince, and well, not I wouldn't say he was used. He and Vince together destroyed wrestling.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, and I wonder about the fact what it would have been eventually. I think we would have got there. He would,
Mm-hmm.
and I think now we're seeing what territories are do, that it shouldn't just be this one soul based industry, because once they're used and destroy them, they just leave them away. And I'm thankful for AEW. I'm thankful for TNA and Impact. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's TNA now, Ring of Honor and New Japan, that we see how it is so important that we have these other organizations.
Right.
And I mourn that fact now, that, and we've learned as fans that we need these other industries, and he truly was a cancer along with Vince McMahon to what they did to the industry. But I'm rambling now, but my tears were shed a long time ago,
Yeah.
and I'm just mad. I just reminded of this anger that I had, and that I was given false hope, a false idol, if you will,
That's a great way of putting it.
you know, and to train, eat my prayers, take your vitamins, all good things that I think we should have done. And then it became, well, it also kind of broke our hearts when it became Hollywood Hulk Hogan. Let's be real.
Yeah, that's why it was so impactful.
But then we learned he became a villain. I'm now forgetting what is. There's faces and there's heels. He became
Right.
a heel, but then we started to idolize heel, and then after a while, I think we just learned we shouldn't idolize heels. But
Right.
I think that also changed the whole the people that grew even more, that we have the biggest heel in the face of the planet now, the president of the United States. And I think it's just the negative impact when you just look at things and you boil things down to where things should be. I'm not saying that Hogan was a star, but it became more of a symbolism of what we appreciate, and we uh give our time to in the world. I
Yeah.
don't know. I'm spinning off of here, Eldon, but
I don't
I'm just
disagree with you.
mad right now,
Right.
bro. Just mad even more the more I think about it.
I
And
think
like,
about
I hope he rots in hell, man.
I think about Jesse Ventura and how he talked about it was Hogan that sabotaged him back in the early
The
'80s.
unionization of wrestling.
Yeah, like where would wrestlers be now if they weren't independent contractors or there was a union, if it was more fair and equitable with their contracts and everything? Again, don't get me wrong. We know the E has gotten a lot better now with
Yes.
how much they give out, how much they on the road. Like it's not like it used to be at all, And even other companies, like you tend to like look, we talk about AEW all the time, but we know Tony Khan take care of people straight up. He's a dude like people get injured, they pay for flights, hotels, they pay people well, like he gets it. And with TNA, I'm not sure how they pay, but I never hear anybody or I've never heard any bad will as far as how they operate, even on this independent contractor sort of model. But we could be in a totally different world if Hogan hadn't sabotaged the union that Jesse was trying to do, and the lies he's told over the years
Yes.
that have been refuted, and other wrestlers are like basically like that never fucking happened. What the fuck is this liar talking about? Like over and over and again. That's what I say. Even after the whole Gawker thing, even after the whole sleeping with your best friend's wife and then be on tape and talking about your daughter dating a ninja and everything, it just got worse. And that's the part that for me, that one part of it, okay. Not saying that's a pass, but it's like if that was it, there could have been time to rehabilitate. That could have been done to
Yeah.
pivot, to show that, oh, this is not who I am. That was a moment. Again, if that's what somebody wanted to do.
Yeah. But he doubled down.
Yeah, that was a consistent pattern of his his behavior, from the bigotry to the selfishness, self-centeredness, to just the overt lying about his accomplishments, the things he's done. And again, he did a lot. I mean, so it's not like he's somebody who had to lie about his accomplishments in the ring and outside of the ring. I mean, Hogan really was the first wrestler turned movie star, and I don't know if you ever call him a movie star because he never was that big, but he had movies. I remember watching Thunder in Paradise on TV and enjoying that show. Like he was the first really crossover guy from wrestling. And I won't knock and say he did not pave the way for everybody else that came after him. I won't knock that. Look, he was a trailblazer in many regards when it came to the sport and then crossing over. Again, like you said, though, the past 10 years or so has really tarnished and destroyed in many respects what he built all those years beforehand. Because it's funny, I was talking to a friend of mine today, and I told her what had happened, and then I told her, yeah, but I told him like I don't care, and like fuck Hulk Hogan, blah blah. But she's like, why? she was oblivious to everything that's happened. I had to explain to her, like, yeah, he on
Yeah.
tape sleeping with his girlfriend. I mean, with his best friend's wife and saying the N-word, talking about his daughter dating the N-word, and then all the bigotry stuff and the lying stuff, and then being at the Republican National Convention talking about Donald Trump. And she was just like, oh, like she had no idea
Yeah.
any of this happened in the past. She's like, oh wow, I understand. And again, she's someone who everybody knows who Hulk Hogan is. Like that's not even being facetious. Everybody knows who Hulk Hogan is.
Yep.
And the fact that she's like, oh my God, I didn't know that. I didn't know it was like that. It was like a shock to her, like, this ain't the same person, but it was.
Yeah. And you said trailblazer a second ago, man. I can't call this motherfucker a trailblazer because a trailblazer paves the way for other people to do things. The motherfucker just followed the money, and the studios just gave him the money and capitalized off of the fame. That's all of this guy did, and he had enablers the entire motherfucking way.
I don't disagree with
Because
you.
people that are trailblazers to me lift other people up behind
Mhm.
them to do something and make avenues for people. That motherfucker just took advantage for himself.
I get what you're saying, but I will say in this aspect, his going to Hollywood made Hollywood look at other wrestlers and see the potential of wrestlers being actors in some way, shape, or form.
Rowdy preceded him,
No,
but he didn't have enough star. He didn't have enough fandom.
no, Hogan was first because of Rocky 3.
You sure
Rocky,
about that?
yeah, Rocky 3 before They Live.
I'm gonna have to peep that.
Yeah.
I don't know, but okay, yeah, I'm just man. But again, you help lift
And
each
that
other
I
people,
agree with.
and I don't know if that man did that because again, I
No,
think
he
again the
didn't.
society just we put people up, but think about everything around that and what had to happen in order for that to happen.
Yeah. I mean,
It takes a village,
we even talk about
and
the
there was a
demise
village of
of
white people that were
WCW.
funding that man.
Hell, no, let's be real. Let's be real honest, right? Think about when TNA became really trash. When people turned out, is when Hogan was there, and the booking. And don't get me wrong, they had some. I think Aces and Eights came up around that time and whatnot. But
Mhm.
Hogan helped the downfall of TNA to where it and became
And
indie.
WCW, he
Yeah,
really
yeah, I was gonna get to that, and
WCW.
like that whole thing, especially with him not wanting to put people over, and they fucked themselves as far as some of the contracts they gave him. But they gave Hogan too much power. They gave Hogan too much power. They gave Flair too much power. But yeah, a lot of these companies they went on the name and prestige of Hogan. They gave him too much power, and they got fucked over in the end. With WCW, they ended up closing. When it comes to TNA, like they were on life support for years after Hogan left.
Yeah,
And they only got right in the past 2 years. Well, I'm gonna say 2 years. I would say starting in 16. So they've been on an upward trajectory, in my opinion, but it took them a while to shed that stink and really right the ship. Um, but yeah, it's the wrestling world has lost an icon. I will say that, and that is true. But from a cultural impact, we have one bigot that's not here anymore. Sorry to
yeah.
say that, but it's true.
My thoughts are with family,
Yeah,
you
definitely.
know. But I think also his family, he could give a fuck about his family if we know and you follow the reporting on how he treated his family,
Yeah, his
you
daughter
know.
don't even talk to him or didn't talk to him from what I understand.
Exactly.
Yeah, so
So, you know, but he is a parent, he is a
yeah,
father and all
and
that.
even
He
in that, her father's gone. I mean,
is
Nick, I think his son's Nick, like his father's gone. He was married, so somebody lost their husband.
Yeah. How he
Um,
treated his previous wife, the mother of Brooke and Nick and all of them. They had a whole show, you
I
know.
got my opinions about her too. She
Yeah.
wasn't exactly innocent either, but
Oh, the whole family was racist. Let's be on. If we're also,
so
being on it, they're racist.
well,
You know.
I'm not giving her any sort of
Yeah.
like leeway. And it's like no, she didn't come off that good of a person either in
Oh,
all.
agreed.
So
Agreed.
I was like, yeah, but yeah, I mourn for their losses and how it will impact their family going forward.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
as someone who is still dealing with grief, you're able to process, deal with it, and move on. Because the next, you got to remember, you still live. And honestly, he still was pretty wealthy, so they're going to be okay in that regard. So
I'm just angry. I'm mad. But yeah, Shiki said it best.
What's today? Yeah, so basically all of tomorrow, all SmackDown is going to be Hail Hulk Hogan. So yeah, definitely watching that.
I hope somebody keeps it real, but we'll see.
Punk will.
Bro. That's the one thing to make you watch.
Yeah.
Man, I'm sad for those of us that got influenced by a false idol.
Yeah.
But it should be a reminder that no one's perfect, but also be fully aware of what is presented to you. Learn the whole deal, and be careful out there.
Yes.
Yeah, man. I'll leave the words up there, but from the man who said it best, Iron Sheik, who only after many years, that wrestling and try to tell us that Iran and everything was messed up, and they're villains and all that. You come to find out, there's a lot more to learn.
Mm-hmm.
Respect to the Iron Sheik.
Yep.
I'm rejoicing with him on this day.
Yep.
Because I know he's happy as hell.
Yes, he's looking down from above, smiling.
Exactly. That's my man, Web Style. Anything you want to leave out with, brother, and what you got going on?
No, I think the only thing I finally published that the playthrough from Jay and Silent Bob's Chronic Blunt Punch or whatever it's called from.
Looking forward to that game, man.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
We got to play that together.
Yeah, I can't wait to get that one. But yeah, that's it. Other stuff is coming. It's just a lot.
Yeah, man. Understood. It's your boy KP, you're on NRW. You know what we're doing. We are dropping content on the daily. I don't stop. When do I sleep? I don't know. I'm gonna figure it out
either.
at some point. But yeah, man. Sorry this couldn't have been more of an episode talking about what's going on in wrestling. I'm still playing catch up, as I had to tell Webster Style, but we had to give our couple of cents because we were all. The one thing he did, he brought us into this wrestling fandom. I knew him before I was watching this man before he became Hulk Hogan.
Right.
Then he became Hulk Hogan, and then it was everything, and I was all in. And I thought my father was Hogan. Just all of this. I was into all of that stuff until the man literally broke my heart. And come to find out that I was getting played this entire time, and he could give a fuck about me or any person of color. And and then that was it. He died years ago for me. So yeah, let's get up out of here. We're gonna ring the bell. We're gonna take the pin. Well, that fucker's taking the pin.
Right.
In a 1, 2, 3. No enthusiasm for this cat, because fuck it. We out.
You come in my face, I'm gonna fight you.
Well, you're not gonna bust a nut anytime we're in the ring.
I'm gonna get off by cranking your knob just a little beyond the breaking point.
When I get my hands on you, I'm gonna eat your ass like a pot of collard greens, baby.
I'm gonna stretch his ass like it's never been stretched before. You can hide behind that commissioner stuff just so long until I jerk a knot in your ass.
And if you don't think I'm big enough, and you grab a hold of me, and you'll know that I'm growing, my man. Within your hands, I will get as big as I need to be to do the job on you.
All right, just jerk Helmsley off.
There's one part of our bodies that's soft, and it ain't soft all the time, if you catch my meaning.
I'm gonna come on you like nobody's ever come on you before. Just you and I getting it on like two men should do.
Oh, no. That's interesting.